Welcome to Tasha Journeys Live. I'm Tasha. Welcome back for, I guess, a part two of 2024 financial goals, how to master your money. If you happen to miss the live from yesterday, I highly suggest that you watch that live after this one. Don't leave this one and go over there yet. But it was all about no spin challenge. So for those who were on yesterday, let me know in the comments as you're coming in if you deleted those apps that we talked about from your phone to have a successful no spin January. And also make sure that you hit that like button as you're coming in. Share the video to social media because it helps my channel it helps my content get out to other viewers who may be interested in it. So even replay game, make sure you're hitting that like button. If you don't do anything else today, hit that like button for me. And I'm curious to know how things went for people who were on the live who maybe deleted the app. So let me know as you're joining in the comments. Did you delete any? You think you're gonna be able to do it because it's January 1st, right? And I hate this saying New Year, new me, but it's New Year, new you. And what did y'all do for New Year's Eve? I planned on not really doing anything, to be honest. I was like, I'm gonna just see what happens. There was a few things like some friends were talking about, and then I ended up going to see Uncle Charlie Wilson last night. So I was super happy. That was a last minute thing. I be getting lucky, y'all. My friends know I love concerts. I went to a Rihanna concert before, random last minute, just got a free ticket from a friend who was like, a friend had bought it, they got sick, couldn't go. I went to Bruno Mars like that. So I'll be getting a good concert energy vibe. So I was definitely happy to see Charlie last night, Wilson last night. So let me know if you did anything fun or if you just stayed in for New Year's, because if you stayed in, that means you weren't spending no money. Well, if you deleted those apps, you didn't. And your girl didn't spend no money because you haven't found the microphone in your settings. I know I have an iPhone and Android is in different spots. So if I go to my settings and I do microphone, I'll only limit certain apps to have access to it. Like I hate Google Maps having access to it because that's literally when you give Google Maps access, it pretty much gives Google access. But when I'm driving and I'm like saying, I don't know, find Target or whatever, I need to be able to speak to it. So making sure I'm turning it on and off. But if you go to your settings on Android or iPhone, you should be able to search microphone and then you should be able to toggle and determine what apps have access to your microphone as you're talking. And let me know how that works for you. And side note, I I have two cats, y'all, and they may be featured in this live because they've been acting a little crazy this morning. So if you see something jump up behind me or you hear some loud noises, it's probably my cats fighting because they be beefing. They be having marital issues. I don't know what be going on with them. So if you hear me pause that live or drop off, give me a minute because they may be fighting. But anyway, yesterday was all about the no spend challenge, and today I want to talk about how to set financial goals to win by April 1st. So most people start off with vision board party. Vision board party. I remember at my church a couple years ago, I hosted a vision board party, but I challenged everyone for everything they put on their vision board, assign $1 to it. So if you already created your vision board for this year, that's not the point in this live. But if you put some dream exotic vacation or home on there, how much does the vacation cost? How much does that home cost, right? So I always challenge people to put numbers to things so they know what they need to do to achieve it because it may be more in reach than you think. So that's my side note about vision boards. But in general, people just say, I want to save more. I want to invest more. I want to improve my credit. And so I always say by how much and by when, right? So it's going back to the SMART goal, like making it specific, measurable. actionable and timely to be able to hit it. So I'm going to break down 3 areas I want to have you focus on to think about what you need to do to be specific in those areas. Um, okay, good. Since you're selling a bunch of stuff, yeah, keep that eBay on there. You're selling. How is it selling things on eBay? I haven't sold. I used to sell back in the day. I used to sell my textbooks on eBay in college. I haven't sold anything else on eBay since then. I typically like the last thing I used to sell things on OfferUp. And have I sold anything on Facebook Marketplace? No, I've listed one of my rental properties on Facebook, like Marketplace, oddly enough. Like I know that may sound weird, but it's a good place, good spot to get people to get people's eyes on my rentals when I have them available. But yeah, if eBay, how is that? Do you sell anywhere else besides eBay? I'm just curious. I haven't heard eBay in a while. My younger brother sells phones. His cell phones. He always buying and trading whatever he be doing on Swappa. So it's so many variations or options to sell things on. I haven't heard eBay in a minute. So the no spend challenge, I already brought that up. Let me know, replay game, how you're doing with that. Um, the first step was deleting stuff, deleting the apps, right? Um, Before I get into the 3 areas to focus on, I'll guide you to how to make it specific to be able to see results by April 1st. Is beware of quick fixes. I don't know if you remember before, uh, was it before COVID or during COVID? Everybody was crypto experts. They were Forex. I had a lot of people from high school in my DMs. Hey, I got this great opportunity, and people were just showing their trades and how they were making trades. They were showing how they were making all this money and quickly, and I don't see those people no more. Where are the people? If you let me know, who were in your inbox, who were sharing all their screenshots of all this money they were making and all these forex conference calls and all of that, where are they now? I'm curious to know because my answer, they ain't nowhere because it was a flavor of the year. So that was a quick fix of investing. So people I would bombard me with investing questions, and I'm like, yeah, that doesn't sound accurate because it's a quick fix. Now, when I talk about investing with people, I'm talking about for the long term. You can day trade, and from lack to legacy, she was on my live, like not featured, but she was in my comment section, and she talks a lot about day trading. So that's different from regular investing. But I'm not gonna talk too much about that because I don't want to lose y'all. But my point is beware of quick fixes. If you can get money real fast, it's probably a scam. If you can pay someone to fix your credit in like 2 weeks by 100 points, it's probably a scam. I said probably. So just be aware of quick fixes, especially the beginning of the year. People know it's income tax return time. So they'll have, amazing things that may be like a lure to you. Usually it's somewhere around investing or credit. Those are the two major things. And the buzzwords, especially in the Black community, of generational wealth and real estate, real estate, real estate, real estate. It's so many Ponzi schemes that's been uncovered now from all of that, the buzzwords, and getting them, hitting people's emotions to make them feel like I got to act now, the new year, my financial future. So that's why over here I'm just encouraging to start off small with the no spend challenge because that's something that you can do and you can control. And I encourage people to get as much information as they can for free before paying for a service. Even with me offering one-on-one services, I prefer I'll share my link, but it's like if you don't know what you don't know, I want you to have some be familiar with what you're expecting and requiring of me with working because I don't want you to be disappointed. And if you have no idea, you have no expectations, we gotta come meet in the middle to make sure that you're gonna be a satisfied customer of mine. So that's just my spiel of like beware of quick fixes this time of year. Ask yourself if you can if you can make $1,000 in 5 days, everybody would be doing it. If you got to bring somebody else in to be able to advance to a next level, it's probably a Ponzi scheme. So I'm just gonna put that out there. So the three goals to, that I want to share to three big wins. I'm just going to tell you. You can modify this to which you what will fit you best. I'm going to talk about spending less by April 1st, which you're going to do in January. But hopefully in February and March, you don't make up for what you didn't buy in January. Then I'll talk about credit, improving your credit by X amount of points and saving X amount of dollars. Now, I don't have I'm not in my three things. I'm not really speaking to investing because saving to me is most important if you don't have a savings. A certain amount. I'm not saying just keep saving and saving and saving, but I do strongly believe in emergency funds and stuff like that. So I'll talk about that when I get to the save portion. But for spending less, we already have the no spend January challenge. So how much you want to spend less by, you probably don't know. So this would be the only goal that I would say may not have an exact a dollar amount, because you may not be aware how much you're spending if you don't have a budget. If you're not really paying attention to your transactions like that, you may not know, like, okay, spend $100 less. That may be nothing. You could be overspending by like $400 a month and not realize it. So we'll be able to see how much you spent less, how much money you did not spend towards the end of the month because you deleted those apps and you're being more conscious about only spending on things you need for January, right? So let me know if that makes sense in the comments about the spend less category. I talked about it a lot. That was the whole live yesterday. So I'm going to move on to the next thing. But as far as making it actionable, like being specific, spend less. I don't have a dollar amount to put there or tell you to suggest because that's kind of you kind of need to wait until the end of the month for that. But yeah, so that's the first area of the three goals. If you do the January no spend challenge, you're going to be doing good there. And then the save XX by April 1st. So how much money do you want to commit to saving per week? And this is what I recommend for people who don't have a savings account or don't have anything saved. That's a lot of people. So if you were like, I don't have nothing saved, or I have a savings account and I keep taking away from it, it keeps going back to the minimum $5 requirement or whatever it is that your bank or credit union. What do you want to commit to taking out physically from your bank account every week or every other week, depending on your pay cycles, and putting it in a jar or wherever in your house? Because I'm assuming we're going to just, let's say it's $40 a week. Now, to some people, that may not be a lot. To others, it may be a whole lot. So you can adjust this to however you see fit. Let's say between $40 and $45 a week. It's 4 weeks in a month. By April 1st, you could have $1,000 saved up by April 1st by just taking that out every week. Or if it's bi-weekly, $90 every pay period, right? So I can't tell you what you can save every week. But I know for sure if you're doing a no spend in January, if you had those apps on your phone, you can at least save $5 per week. I can tell you that much. That would just be eliminating, if you were a Starbucks person, which I am not, if that's your advice, that's eliminating that for one day, right? So that's just something small. I'm not one of those people who are like, oh, eliminate Starbucks, eliminate your coffee and all of that. That's what's keeping you back from being rich. No, I'm saying to make this specific measurable goal for saving, how much you want to save by April. I want you to think about what you're going to commit to saving per week, or I should say per pay cycle, and physically take it out of your bank account and bring it in the house and put it in a jar. Or if it's going to be a lot of money that you can actually save per week, have it in a savings account with no ATM and you can't transfer it back to your checking account. So it's completely separate. Either one of those things is what I'm going to suggest. But how much are you going to commit to saving to every pay cycle to be able to hit maybe $1,000 saved by April 1st or more, right? Um, the main statistic is that most Americans don't have $1,000 saved for emergency. So that's why I'm just throwing out that $1,000 goal to save by April 1st. But again, you can adjust it to what you think. So as I'm speaking about saving goals and a number to hit, what is coming to your mind of like what will be reasonable for you to save by April 1st? For me, I don't have any specific savings goals because all of mine is going to investing. So I don't believe just to keep saving and saving. I recommend saving the $1,000 first. And it's similar to, you may hear this if you follow different financial people talk about saving 1,000 and going on the baby steps and stuff like that. I don't fully subscribe to that whole philosophy, but I do think $1,000 is a great start. And then the next thing is emergency fund. So if you have $1,000 saved up, emergency fund is how much is having your monthly expenses saved, at least 3 months in a savings account. Do you have that? If not, that's a good goal to hit because if you think about it with the economy or whatever, when I'm working with people one on one, I'm always like, okay, if you don't have any savings goal, if you were to lose your job today, God forbid, how long could you survive without getting a paycheck or being on unemployment? And it's like deer in headlights look like I don't want to speak that into existence, so I don't want to talk about that. I'm like, okay. However, that means you don't have a savings enough to cover you in an event of emergency for things like that. Um, if you had to go down a disability or you had to take a pay cut or whatever, how long could you survive, right? And that's what I'm bringing up to you. So if you have $1,000 saved, if you are like, what will be my next step? What will be my next savings goal after that? 3 months of your living expenses, 3 months of your rent saved, 3 months of your um, utility bill saved. Like that is what I'm talking about. 3 months of what you spend per month in groceries saved. And if you don't have a budget, you probably don't have that saved because you're not aware of what those expenses are going to be. And again, as I'm doing these lives, we will walk through a budget, but I like to think about just the psychology of money first before we get into the numbers of breaking stuff down, right? So setting goals makes you stick to your budget better. So that's why I'm doing the budget first. The no spend gives you an idea of, oh my God, how much frivolous spending you're doing before seeing the numbers. Because people see the numbers and have a heart attack and feel like I can never do it. Similar to losing weight. You said, I don't want to step on the scale. I don't want to step on the scale. I don't really want to see the numbers. So, and I can relate to that. I don't really want to see how much I weigh, so I want to be in blissful ignorance or whatever. So I understand that, and this is why I'm like, let's start with no spend. Now we're talking about our goals, and then we'll keep talking about different topics throughout the month because we want to do better financially in 2024. Hey, cuz, thanks for joining. Yes. So save how much? How much are you gonna save? Save XX is what I'm getting to. And I want to point out this too. From Lack to Legacy, she does have a goal of having 1,000 um, women open up brokerage accounts. So if you're like, okay, I'm good on the save and I want to get investing, I'm gonna share her link to her YouTube channel below. But don't forget that 401k, that's investing. So if what I don't want to confuse and say that, oh, don't invest in your 401k while you are saving up money. No, I always recommend you should at least, if you don't do anything else, invest in your 401k up to your company match. So this means if your company is matching you dollar for dollar 4%, you should at least be doing the 4% match in your 401k while you're trying to do all these other things with your money. Because if you don't, that's a part of your compensation package and you're just leaving free money on the table, right? So I do encourage you to invest in your 401k up into the match if you don't do anything else. And that will be hitting in an investing goal. But again, I'm talking about spending less, number one, saving X amount of dollars is number two. Now, I want to move on to the next part, which is increase your credit by how many points. So This is the third win. So this is going to be measurable on April 1st. I'm going to schedule a live for April 1st to go over this and rehash this to see where you end up 90 days later. And I will continue to go live. I'm going live every Sunday at 7 p.m. Yesterday I adjusted it just because it was New Year's Eve, but I will be going live every Sunday at 7 p.m. And most of it will be financial because beginning of the new year, I will talk about travel and I'll have different guests on that I've met through my travels. But you're gonna be hearing more about money. And then April 1st, I want to know where y'all at. So the number one thing people come to me about is credit. Don't nobody come to me about budgeting. I'm like, I don't want to talk about no budget. I need to improve my credit. And I'm like, okay, well, we need to figure out what led you to have bad credit. So if it was missing bill payments or whatever, okay, that could be, oh, I didn't have a reminder set in my phone or I didn't have automatic payments. Okay, that could be one thing. But it usually is a sign of living outside of your means. If it's a significant drop or a significant low score where you're just like, I don't even keep up with the payments. I have a lot of student loan debts. I don't even know where to begin. I thought Biden was going to cancel all of that. It could be a number of things on why your credit is not where you want it to be. So by April 1st, how many points do you want to improve your credit score? Let's say your credit score is 550 and you're like, okay, I have a terrible credit score. It's 550. Realistically, Tasha, what can I improve it by? Okay, I think a realistic goal to improve it by April 1st will be 40 points. So I'm already giving y'all the savings goal of 1,000. If you think that, again, your finances better than me. If you're like, I'm on complete survival mode, girl. I didn't have no apps to delete for no spend challenge or whatever. Okay, adjust that savings goal, right? But for y'all who got the Amazon, if you know the delivery driver and all that, you love those memes, or ha 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 about your Amazon wish list, you need to have $1,000 saved by April 1st. I'm not gonna believe in that because you've been spending on stuff. Um, Going back to my live yesterday. Sorry, I'm gonna get off my soapbox on that. But the $1,000 saved, and now let's talk about increasing your credit score by 40 points by April 1st. So what does that look like? And I'll break that down in 1 second. So let me know. Thank you, HND Abroad. Um, so what does that look like for you to increase your credit score by 40 points by April 1st? So I always talk about what makes up your credit history the most is your credit history. Yeah, your payment history is the huge chunk, about 35%. So I recommend that if you haven't, again, it's about looking at the data. Some people don't want to, like looking on the scale, you don't want to look at it to see, pull your credit report. You can pull it from Credit Karma or you can pull your official credit report from the bureaus as well, from Experian, Union, and Equifax. Pull it down and see for your payment history, do you have anything in the last 2 years that have X's on it, meaning that you have more than 30 days late, 60 days late, because that will give you the biggest boost to your credit if you can contact those creditors to remove those payments, right? So we're talking about how to increase our credit score by 40 points by April 1st. And this is an example for someone who has extremely low credit score of boosting their points. 35% of your credit score for FICO is from your payment history. So if you pull your credit report and you look at the most recent 2 years of your credit history and you have creditors on there, let's say Chase, you have a Chase credit card, and within the last 2 years you have 3 late payments by 30 days, like you just didn't make the payment or whatever, and you eventually made it again, but now you have a red or yellow circle on your credit report because you were late. I would suggest that you need to contact Chase credit cards, Chase Bank, to see if they will remove the late payment, because you can say, I'm making current payments now. Can you remove that off my credit report? So it's simple as making a phone call, being consistent when making the phone calls to get this removed off your credit report. So this is something easy, um, as far as like the big easy grab for improving your credit. By 40 points, let's say, looking at your credit history. Then you can look at your credit utilization. Where are you at with credit cards? Are you over 30% utilized? Meaning, if you have a $10,000 limit, do you have over $3,000 on a credit card? Because let's say it's maxed out, but you have other credit cards that you can transfer that balance to, that can improve your credit score, right? So I'm not going in super in detail about this. If you want me to do a separate live on credit because you think I'm going too fast, let me know. I can slow it down in this live, and I may just dedicate another live to credit in general. But this will be one of your goals. So I see a comment coming in. Yeah, so this is a great question because I actually said I would do something separate about this, but I'm gonna do it now. What was in my wallet when I was traveling? I made all my purchases with traveling on my credit card when I was swiping things, and I was paying it off in full because, and even now in the States, I usually just swipe my credit card, which is so odd because I always share with people why I became debt free, and they're like, "But you still got credit cards?" Yes, I do, because when I've had my credit card information stolen, most recently in Colombia, a few months ago, and it was actually with the chip. So I'm going to get to answer your question, but I'll tell you the story because I'm really still irritated with Capital One about this. But I was on an excursion. So if you've been out of town, if you've been to Jamaica, Mexico, wherever, like Caribbean, um, usually you do excursions, you go leave for the whole day, you're on some boat or whatever. And this was a situation. And I always keep one credit card on me, and I had it in my usually I have like a waterproof thing, but I didn't have it with me. And the next day I had someone use my credit card like for a chip purchase or whatever. And I'm like, I see these charges come through. Somebody tried to get a $5,000 transaction through on my credit card. I'm glad it was on my credit card and not my debit card because my debit card, my money would have been messed up. Now it's affecting how I pay my bills and all of that. Now I'm not happy it happened to me, but it was on my credit card and it was just me being frustrated going back and forth with Capital One, and my money, my cash money wasn't impacted. So I like that layer of protection of my actual cash is not impacted. It's just me trying to get dispute and get this stuff off of my credit, off my credit cards or whatever versus my money being gone. So travel credit cards, I like for when I was traveling abroad. Discover and Amex are pointless. So I do have a credit card on best credit cards for international travel for that have no annual fee. If you have fair credit, meaning six 620, 660 credit score, which is the built BILT card or Wells Fargo card. And they have no annual fee, but the bill is for people who have fair credit. And what I like about that credit card is that you get travel protection benefits, meaning that you can get like trip delay coverage. You can get I think it's trip delay. I can't think of anything else off the top of my head, but I got a video on that, so I'll link it below. But to get the good travel credit cards, like a Chase Sapphire, um, drawing a blank, Chase Sapphire is coming to mind, or like a Bank of America Visa or Capital One. I was just talking about Capital One. Capital One cards that have amazing travel protection. You're gonna need like a 700 at least credit score or 730 credit score to get that, right? So you're trying to get the really good travel credit cards, meaning that they do have an annual fee, but the perks that you get cover the annual fee. You will want to improve your credit score by to get in the 700s at least to get the really good travel international credit cards, like the Chase and Sapphire Prefer, like I was saying. But if you have fair credit, check out the Built card. I'll just put this in here. But improving your credit will still fall along the lines of what I'm saying now is just doing things to increase it by a certain amount of points to be able to qualify for those cards. Um, Also, I was saying about Discover or American Express. American Express, I love. It's my favorite credit card to use. I'm a Delta. Before I was traveling abroad, I was a Delta queen. Got so many miles. I'm still taking free flights with my Delta miles right now. And so I was definitely using points and all of that. However, American Express and Discover outside of North America, it's not really accepted anywhere. I noticed a few countries in Europe accepted American Express, but the norm is a Visa or a MasterCard, not a Discover or American Express. So if you're talking about getting a better rate on travel credit cards, H&D abroad, I'm not sure if you're aware of it, but you definitely want to go for a Visa signature card or a MasterCard credit card type because American Express and Discover are pointless outside of North America. So meaning that you can use American Express in Jamaica, in Mexico, in Caribbean. They usually charge a little bit more of a fee when you're paying with excursions or whatever. But they don't even accept it in like Africa, in Asia, or whatever. So H&D, I'm not sure where you're traveling abroad to, but just keep that in mind. And I'll also drop the link I have for the coverage is talking about credit cards for travel. Because I really do like the travel protection that credit cards offer. You you can get medical coverage. Um, if you have an emergency situation abroad. So if you somewhere and you need to get air flown out to a hospital, like certain credit cards will actually cover that. They have the higher annual fees, but you're saving money because you're not buying that separate insurance coverage when you're traveling. So I'm gonna go and see if I can link that video, find a video that I had about the two credit cards for lower scores, and I'll drop it in the comments. Because I think they're great. It's really built, and then like the Wells Fargo, you have to have a slightly higher score. But it's something worth checking out. Hey, cuz, Happy New Year. No problem, no problem. Yes, Leah. Always contact the credit card company. Yeah, I was so mad with the. It took 2 months to resolve the thing from Colombia. Now they did catch the 5,000 that someone tried to put. They rejected that immediately. But the issue was that when I was on the excursion, I suspect someone took my credit card and was just swiping it in to get the money versus uh, scammers are getting smarter that they know if they just take your credit card number and use it, it's more likely to get caught and flagged. But when you insert physically with a card with a chip, that's harder to do. That's usually signaling like the credit card user is using the card, and it's harder for me to dispute it, which means that they'll be able to keep the stolen money. But oh no, I was going back and forth with them on the phone. Like I was on a boat, I was on an excursion, so I'm assuming this is how they got my credit card, but I did not make this purchase or whatever. So that was me like not having my credit card on me. But again, I'm a person that uses credit card for purchases paid off in full to be able to better protect myself. Since I'm talking about credit cards for travel, so thanks for that question, H&D abroad. With even if you're like, okay, I'm new to trying to set travel goals, I'm just now getting into travel. What credit cards should I, aim for when traveling? Again, I want to recommend Steer and Clear, but American Express and Discover if you have plans to travel outside of North America because they're not accepted everywhere. And to get those really good cards with higher protection coverage for purchases, trip delay. Like Chase, if your flight is delayed more than 6 hours and you purchase it on a card, you can, they'll give you, or your luggage, I should say, they'll give you a credit voucher for the bag being delayed, trip interruption. If it's canceled or whatever, if you have it on that Chase Sapphire Preferred, they'll refund you the money. So it's different protections that these credit cards offer. So it's definitely worth having. And before I left the travel, I made sure I added my mom and my younger brother on my credit cards just because this is just a side note with traveling. I'm like, okay, if something happens and I'm all the way in Japan, I don't want my family to be burdened with trying to figure out how they're gonna come up with a $2,500 ticket because it's last minute and they need to get to me. So I added them on my credit card to be able to just make that purchase, to be able to get to me in the event something happens. You got to be able to trust whoever you add on as an authorized user on there, but that's just something to keep in mind. Yes, I will definitely do that. So if you have any specific questions about credit, let me know. Hey, Feminine Melanin University, thank you for joining. Let me know if you have any specific questions about that now, because I will do a separate live about travel and credit cards and the protections that you may not even be aware of, and that I like the most. But I'm gonna have to prepare for that because I'm not gonna be able to go off the top of my head. It's so many credit cards and there are so many points. I used to be a travel hacker, meaning that I would strategically get credit cards to get trips for free. I took me and my mom to Hawaii for free off credit card points for 7 nights and 8 days. So our flight and our hotel was completely covered for free. I went to Essence Fest for free off miles and even covering my spending with using points and gift cards. So I used to really be like, have my spreadsheet or whatever to make all this stuff happen. But I got it's so many different credit cards and so many different things. So I would have to prepare for that live. But if you have any questions in general about credit cards, drop them below. I'm sure I can answer them. I just can't do like credit hacking type of things. But going back, if you're just joining, I'm talking about increasing your credit score by at least 40 points by April 1st. And that's going through looking at your payment history, looking at your credit card utilization, looking at credit card inquiries, making sure things are accurate. You can have a lot of disparities on your credit report, and it will take time to dispute it. Um, yes, it was beautiful, and I'm glad it was free. Uh, we using points. So I think increasing your credit score by 40 points by April 1st is definitely doable just by doing the three things I suggested. Analyzing credit history for accurate payments, inquiries, and utilization. Those are the heavy hitters to be able to get that jump. And again, it takes time to call, email to get certain things removed. And that's why I'm saying 3 months timeline, you should be able to do it. And you're not shopping because we doing a no spend January. If you were not on a live yesterday, I see some people joining. I am challenging you to not spend any money on frivolous things, meaning delete Amazon app off your phone, delete social media apps that you are purchasing things through. If you spend a lot of money gaming, that applies too. Delete that off your phone. Use that time and energy somewhere else, and it could be to go into your credit, improving your credit. Um, yeah, definitely, she's gonna have to pay attention to these things as she's going into college. Just as far as with young adults, I do this with financial guidance. So that's my nonprofit where I go into schools and teach kids kindergarten through 12 about financial literacy. Um, High schoolers, I've had curriculum set for investing. The high schoolers they're on this credit thing. So there's been times where I'm like, okay, we were supposed to only do 6 weeks because that the administration wanted to cover certain topics, certain areas. And I'm like, listen, we got to stay on credit because they are really focused on this because buy now, pay later. That's dangerous. So if you have an 18-year-old, they could be hurting their credit without a credit card because of buy now, pay later with Klarna and Afterpay. Especially on TikTok, they see a look, it's cute. It's a $70 look. You can just boop, boop, boop. You don't got to pay nothing, you got Afterpay. So that's scary because they say um they'll say that oh, it's not, you don't have to, we're not pulling your credit or whatever, it's no impact, but you don't make a payment, the fees go up. It's going to be reported to your credit. So yeah, so I would say for if you have high schoolers or your teenagers are in college, sit down and pull the credit report with them. So Credit Karma good place to start, or annualcreditreport.com is your free credit report. So I'm going to drop that in there. Um, don't pull your kids' credit report. Well, if they're minors, pull it. I always tell parents to you can pull to check to see if someone's stolen your child's identity. I don't have that link and stuff off the top of my head. I will try to go back in after this live and put it in there. But if your child is 18 years old and they probably like, I'm grown, I'm 18, they ain't really grown. But anyway, I suggest what you're saying as far as your college student, whenever they come home for the weekend or when y'all talking, I would it should be in person. Pull the credit report together, and just walk through the basics of seeing what's on there, because what you don't want to have happen is someone's actually using their credit information. It's not even about seeing them spending, but just someone already using their credit. So what I'm doing right now is trying to drop the link into um the free annual credit report, but I am having trouble. So I'll drop it after the live. I'll drop it in there. But I suggest that you definitely um sit down and go over credit report with her to see what's on there. I mean, she's an adult, so she may not want to share the information, but to see what's really being reported, and don't get caught up into just buying, buying, buying. A lot of high school students, the biggest shocker with them is that they thought that, they knew credits, that student loans, they're starting to learn that loans have to be paid back. But they thought that if they quit school, like if they dropped out, they took a semester off, they thought like they didn't have to pay back the student loans because they didn't graduate. Like I can't tell you how many high school students. I'm like, that is definitely not the case. There are people who have student loans who did not finish a semester. So don't feel like you are not in a position to have these conversations with your teenager, because you know more, even if you just know from your mistakes. Sitting down and just walking them through that with something real with their credit report is going to be more helpful than just blurting out different stuff when y'all shopping about like, oh, you don't need to be buying that. That's probably not, like, that's not going to register. So that is just my tips. But yeah, high schoolers, teenagers in general, they are definitely interested in credit, and they're learning a lot of misinformation, unfortunately, on social media. I'm always correcting them on that's not right. That's not accurate. So I like them being engaged and asking these questions. So going down to make sure I didn't miss any comments. And if not, I'm gonna hop off of here because I think I've addressed everything. I'm gonna wait a couple seconds. I said that yesterday, and I waited. And as soon as I hit end stream, I seen like 2 comments come through. I'm like, where were they? So I know it's a little bit of a delay on my end when comments are coming in or questions. So if you have any last minute questions on the save part, spin challenge, you can watch the live from yesterday. But on credit, let me know. So you already let me know about the travel H&D. Thank you for that question. I will definitely do the next live center on credit cards and credit scores and credit cards, specifically for the credit cards that I use, because when I was traveling, because I'm going on top of my head of thinking, but I'm not entirely sure. I was really hurt that I couldn't use my Amex, which I already knew before I left, because I used that card, the Delta Amex, more than anything when I was in the States, but not so much anymore. So, well, now I'm back, I use it. But okay, y'all, I don't see any other questions coming through. I dropped a link to the credit card video in the comments already. Okay, thank you, H&D. And I will. So I deleted Instagram for January, but I will go in there and see your DMs on there. So thank you for joining H&D and my cousins and my mama and everybody, my family. I appreciate y'all. Appreciate y'all for joining. And replay gang, drop your questions in the comments, and don't forget to hit that like and share button. Go ahead and share this live to your social media so people can get this good information. And I will see y'all on Sunday at 7 p.m. for my next live stream. Bye. Happy New Year too. Happy New Year. Happy New Year.